Hello everyone, it's Theme Park Avenue, I'm Eric, and this is it. The battle we've all been waiting for. Iron Gwazi versus Steel Vengeance. Which one is the best RMC hybrid and best coaster in the world? Before we get to this battle, please subscribe to the channel so you know when new videos come out. And now, before getting into this actual matchup, I should point out, obviously, neither of these are the objective best roller coaster per se. I know many people would prefer other ones, but this is a battle a lot of people have talked about, and I'm going to talk about which one I prefer. I just got on Iron Gwazi, I've done Steel Vengeance many times, so which one is the better ride? Let's find out. I'm going to talk about the experience I get on each one, and I'll start with Iron Gwazi, because that's one I'm sure you're more interested to hear about, since the ride just opened, for only pass holders. So I think this ride has an incredible ride experience. I do want to quickly acknowledge the queue for those who want to know about it. It has a lot of facts about alligators and crocodiles in it, and it looks pretty nice. And the fact that you go above the actual ride is pretty cool. I really love that. So I think the ride itself is much better, of course, because you would expect that from an RMC hybrid. So you really get yanked out of the station when you go down the first drop underneath where people are lined up into the lift hill. The lift hill takes a pretty long time and it's very imposing, and then you get to the top of the hill. And I must say, this first drop is the most frightening ever. Not even Millennium Force builds up anticipation the same way. And I think the drop itself, I prefer Millennium Force and a couple others, but this is probably a top 5 drop in the world. Unbelievable first drop. Then you have the Outer Bank turn, which is the second best airtime moment I've ever done, maybe tied for first with the actual Steel Vengeance Outer Bank turn, but it really does keep you in the air for a while. Then you have what I'm going to call the Death Roll, which I actually think is better than the Mosasaurus roll on Velocicoaster. I'm not even joking. It's incredible. After that, it's honestly a blur. There's a lot of airtime moments, you get thrown out of your seat, you get pushed into your seat, a great mix of intensity and airtime that you don't really get on any other RMC in my experience. I thought it was incredible, and all the elements after that do kind of blur together because you really have no idea what just happened by the end, and I was so blown away by that. I was really just like, what happened? I couldn't believe it. This is a back row ride that I'm mainly talking about that was the best ride I think that anyone can get. It was unbelievable. And after that we got handed pins because first time riders or something like that. That was pretty cool. We have pins as memorabilia. And remembering that first ride is something I definitely want to do, so I'm very happy with that. Man, I could not believe how good this was. Compared to Steel Vengeance, Steel Vengeance immediately starts with 2 unbelievable ejector hills before the main lift hill. Then you get to the first drop, which is incredible, 2 incredible floater airtime moments, a pretty strong inversion, and following that, there's a lot of weaving through tracks out and back. It's much longer than Iron Gwazi, and it's easier to remember what just happened, as you'll remember each airtime moment. And between the two, I do think Steel Vengeance definitely has more airtime, no question there. That's not something a lot of people would really argue. But I do think overall, Steel Vengeance is definitely a top 2 ride in the world, but so is Iron Gwazi. These two are pretty neck and neck for me, so let's draw a few comparisons. First of all, the first drop is definitely better on Iron Gwazi. It feels so much faster and longer at the same time, even though it's a pretty marginal difference. In terms of Outer Bank turn airtime hill, I slightly prefer Steel Vengeance, but it's very close, as both are quite similar. In terms of the inversions, no doubt in my mind Iron Gwazis are better. The Death Roll, as I call it, and then the stall later on are unbelievable elements. And it's definitely a quality over quantity thing in terms of the inversions. For speed I think is held much better by Iron Gwazi. There is the brake run on Steel Vengeance, which kind of slows it down a little bit, and I feel like even though the ride holds its speed well, Iron Gwazi just speeds through its layout. It's unbelievable. And the fact that even though it's not as long as Steel Vengeance, I felt fulfilled by the end of it. And in the final brake run we were still going pretty fast. This ride also is definitely much more intense than Steel Vengeance. For those who love intensity, I think you'll like this more. It undoubtedly has much stronger forces that are not airtime related. Steel Vengeance, its main game is airtime for sure. And airtime's my favorite, so of course I love that. but I do think Iron Gwazi is a little more impressive overall for forces and thrills. So this is very tough. What's better? Honestly, between the two, I'm going to say my favorite roller coaster, favorite RMC, better between these two, is Iron Gwazi. I really don't think the sentimental value is playing too much, but it is my home park, and I've been so excited for this ride. But this ride is just much more intimidating. I think it feels way faster and more thrilling, and it's a quality over quantity kind of thing. Steel Vengeance has loads of airtime moments, and loads of inversions. 4 for an RMC, but Iron Gwazi has airtime moments that are overall, I think, better, and inversions that are undoubtedly better. The elements are massive on Iron Gwazi, and I do love the sheer size of certain elements. It's something I love about a lot of large coasters. And this is by far my favorite roller coaster, Busch Gardens Tampa, that was no question. But it's also, by a little bit, my favorite roller coaster in the world. I personally think, if you like RMCs, if you like roller coasters, you definitely should try to make a trip to Busch Gardens Tampa as soon as you can to ride this incredible thing. It is an unbelievable ride. And definitely the fact that it's above Steel Vengeance for me, which has held my #1 spot for quite a while, that should speak to how amazing this ride is. I absolutely recommend this, and I think it is just the greatest ride experience I've ever had. And I'm so glad this is finally available for riders to experience. What an incredible ride. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this comparison video, and I know some of you will think I'm crazy for saying Iron Gwazi is better than Steel Vengeance, but I really do think it's a ride I prefer, and a ride I would rather ride again if I had a choice between the two. Subscribe to the channel for more content, and like this video if you enjoyed. I'll see you next time.